I follow this guy on Twitter. I really like his name is Nick Huber. It's at Sweaty Startup, and we'll put a link in the show notes. But I like it because he's a young guy. He does a lot with real estate, buying self-storage units. Not a sexy business, but it can be very profitable.
Absolutely.
And just doesn't hype it up very much. It's not like I'm going to make you a millionaire overnight. Just hard work and looking at things in a different manner, kind of like we talk about using your business brain, right? And so he did a thread with some great hiring tips that we've talked about before, but some that we haven't. And I'd love to delve in. I think he's got 5 or 6 of them that I think are worth sharing here.
Yeah, no, this is a great thread that when you shared it with me, I dove right in. And so the first one that Nick Huber at Sweaty Startup puts on here, the first mistake, I'll make sure to highlight that, is overcomplicating the job. And he says, entrepreneurs love chaos. We love making decisions, and we're good at it. We thrive with uncertainty. Employees want the opposite. It's like, oh, right. Yes.
Yeah. Clear and simple frameworks. They don't want to make hard decisions or solve complex problems all day. Don't make the mistake of thinking that your employees are just like you. They're absolutely not. And so this concept of we give everybody complete, all this autonomy and everything else, that's not the best way to do it. And you're going to have people within your organization that some of them like to have more autonomy and do things on their own.
Yes.
And others need, day-to-day guidance.
Yeah, this isn't hard and fast binary. Yeah. But it's a good approach. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And they still need a clear framework of this is the job. These are the tasks that have to get done. Here's my expectation. And then, certainly giving them independence, I think is really good. We're going to talk about delegating here in a minute. So, that's the other side of the coin, right? Yep. The second one is, this is kind of where I think the work from home crowd is going to be in for a bit of a shocker over the next year. Number 2 is hiring. One of the mistake is hiring only in America. Nick says if the job can be done remotely on a computer, it can be done just as well or better by someone in this example in the Philippines. He says 18 of their 45 employees are currently there. If you can be replaced, I guarantee you large companies or even small ones are thinking of ways to save money. And it's going to be easier to replace you if you're not part of like the in-person team and people don't have relationships with you. And so I think the work from home concept, while I love it and I do it and I hire people that do it as well, I think it's been overplayed a bit. And I believe we're going to get some correction, and some of those ways may come from offshore hiring like this.
Yeah, I don't see it as a correction. I see it as us embracing this idea of remote working and working from home. And it's like, okay, wait a minute, this works. So why are we limiting ourselves to people who live in one specific spot? I remember years ago, I had a conversation with your glorious state there, Shannon, the state of California, when they came to me and said, hey, turns out you haven't been paying franchise taxes in our lovely state. And I said, you're damn right I haven't. Why would I want to be doing that? And they're like, well, you have an employee here. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't matter. Like, that's immaterial to the business. And they're like, well, it doesn't matter. You have Nexus here, so you need to pay us I said, we don't earn any money in California. They said, great. Well, you only then owe us $800 per year.
That's correct.
Yeah, which many states don't do, by the way. It's based on revenue, not just Nexus having a flat minimum fee. But the state of California was very happy to charge me their minimum fee and, of course, many penalties because I hadn't paid it for, the prior 7 years or something like that. And I said to him, if my employee came to me tomorrow and said, hey, Dave, I've been lying to you. I live in Bolivia. I could care less. In fact, I'd feel a whole lot better about it because I'd be able to tell you Californian people to screw off. But if you don't care where your employee lives and you're fine with them living in Bolivia or the Philippines, well, then open up your options to people that do live in Bolivia and the Philippines because it really doesn't matter. In fact, we have one woman in the Philippines working for the business I never talk about here on the show. And she's been with us for That business is 4 years old. She has been with us for 3 of them. And she's wonderful. She's great. Yeah. We don't care. The only weird part about it, and I actually haven't thought about it in years because she chooses to work what I'll call U.S. hours, is that she's literally on the other side of the world. So she works when it's dark out for her. And we don't mandate that. Like when we hired her, we said, you work whenever you want. That's totally fine. Like and we can catch up. We can sync up. We're all night owls anyway. She's like, nope, I have already been doing this for a number of years. I organize my life this way. I'll work 9 to 5 based on Eastern time or something like that. And so she works when it's dark. She sleeps a little bit and then she has her daytime to herself. So,
That's great.
Yeah.
So I think you don't want to miss those opportunities.
No.
Look at a global workforce and see what makes sense for your business, right?
Yeah.
The next one is and again we've talked about this a lot, even just on this show. Firing too slow. Nick says that your gut instinct is almost always right. In his case, employees rarely improve. I'm not sure I agree with that 100%. They rarely get better or learn how not to make the same silly mistakes or bad decisions. Cut ties quickly. A weight will be lifted off your back. I think, Dave, I could probably speak for you and say we've both made this mistake. I'm a nice guy. I like to consider myself a nice guy. I hate firing people, but you do have to act as quick as you can, cut your losses and move on. And you need to listen to your other people, your managers, your supervisors, because they will often be the first ones to tell you, hey, this person should go. And even though, I have this concept that when you have to fire somebody, it's a failure of management, right? You either hired the wrong person or you didn't train them correctly. But okay, that's just
that's fine.
That doesn't mean
It doesn't mean that you have to then fix this person, right? Yeah, exactly.
That's to help you in the future. So,
and I've been through this a few times. Yes, you're right that other people in your organization will tell you this, but they won't necessarily tell you as clearly as you just stated it, Shannon. It might come in the form of how Tim is. So he's going to say no to this, but I think we should do it anyway, right? Like when people start qualifying how and predicting how someone else is going to reply in the negative or treat something and slow down the process or not get it done, I think Nick is 100% right. Your gut is almost always right, and you need to rid your company of incompetence ASAP. If you get the feeling that someone is incompetent, yes, it is your failure. You hired the wrong person. The only other failure you will continue to make is not firing them today. That's it. There's no way to take someone who is incompetent, and I don't like to use the term willfully incompetent, but some people really are. They're stubborn. They don't want to learn more. They want to do their thing the way they know how to do it or don't know how to do it. And when you find somebody like that, get them out. And also look for people whose mindset challenges the culture you already have. Sometimes that's okay. Sometimes an evolution of your company's culture is a good thing, but be really intentional about keeping people who are challenging your company's culture. And I say this having seen it in others, and I also say it knowing that I've been that person in not just companies, but, I'm a musician. I play in bands. I have seen myself change the culture of a band and not necessarily for the better. Sometimes for the better.
Yeah.
But, sure. We all have our ways, and I have an ability to lead, right? I don't want to say I'm a natural born leader, but I certainly have the ability to convince other people of the way that I am thinking. And that isn't always a good thing when it's somebody else's rodeo. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. You don't need too many cooks in the kitchen.